This is Danny Gaffone for ESBR Boxing. It's a pleasure to have with me today the Commonwealth and, as of Friday night, British featherweight champion Nathaniel Collins. Nathaniel, some introduction. How does it sound to you?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Something I've been waiting a long time to hear. So, it's good. I like that. I can get used to that.
And back in the gym already today. You didn't take too much time out of it.
Nah, it wasn't like sometimes you wake up after a bit of a war and you're sore and stuff. I was all right. My Friday night took a bit of recovering from after the fight. But other than that, I felt good today. I thought I'll get down to the gym and burn a few calories and see the boys and stuff. So went in and done a wee bit of boxing today and then some weights and that. And hey, back to it.
Happy days, mate. On to the fight itself. And against James Beach Jr., really solid domestic level opponent. Obviously coming off what was a career best win for himself against the odds. So really live opponent in there. You were a favourite, but the bookies had it were priced at not like a massive difference, but unfortunately the fight wasn't available to watch anywhere. I scoured the internet for hours trying to watch it, but there was a few people reporting it on Twitter, so shout out to them. And a word that came up a lot was clinic. Breaking them down was another phrase that we used a lot. Talk about them about the game plan you went in there with that delivered such a good performance against, as I say, a really solid fighter in James Beach Jr.
Yeah, mate, we'd watched his past fights. Obviously, he fought Dennis McCann, he fought Chris Bork. So he struggled with southpaws in those fights. McCann obviously managed to stop him with the towel through in the corner through in the towel in the eighth. So um, I've done one better than that and got him out there in the seventh. I managed to put him away with a good body shot. So the game plan was just keep punching and moving. We know like he's a tough boy, but like skill wise, I knew I was just that wee bit level above him, and it was just sticking to that, staying controlled, taking the head off centre, punch when he tries to punch, and yeah, everything worked to plan. I came out the ring right away, and I said to like my coach Joe, and that I wasn't that happy with my performance. I think because it was going all my way, I took risks that I didn't necessarily need to take. But I did really want to press for the stoppage, so it left me a bit, open when I was trying to push that, and I did like having a wee bit of a war, and it just made it a better fight for everybody that had turned out and bought a ticket and stuff. So that was kind of all part of it, but it was great. It was good to get a good wee firefight at some points. It was good, and like you said, when I came out, even though I was disappointed with how I boxed, most people were saying it was a masterclass, it was a clinic. So I'm glad people think that me at 50 and 60% of my abilities, masterclass and clinic, because I've got levels and levels more to go above that.
Well, I'll tell you now, mate, you're the only person I've seen or heard say a negative word about the performance. So I suppose it just shows the standards you set for yourself. You touched on the stoppage, came in the seventh round to the body. It was a sickening looking body shot. I did see that, seen that went sort of mini viral amongst the people I have on Twitter. A lot of fighters say when they land a body shot like that, they know straight away he'll do well to come back from that. Did you know once you landed, and I'm sure when you saw James's reaction, that this is the fight?
Mate, it was a weird one because it shocked me a bit because I knew I'd landed a nice body shot, but his reaction when he ran across the ring was like I kind of stopped and had a look because I was like, "What's going on here?" And then I was like, "Did I run over and hit him?" Because he never actually went down. He just kind
Yes.
of like
Yes.
Winston went like bent over, but he never went down. I was like, nah, I can't run over and hit him. But the Steve Gray hadn't really said anything. He just kind of looked at me and I looked at him, and then he pointed over. So it was a bizarre one. And then as I was walking to the corner, like I seen him double over even more. So I was like, there's no danger he's getting up for that. And then I was watching his corner, and his coach had stepped up to the ring. So I think regardless of what was going to happen, he was going to chuck it anyway. So um, it was good feeling.
You mentioned there a bit earlier that the only previous fighter to stop James was Dennis McCann, who's been billed as one of the sort of best prospects in the UK, a future world champion in many eyes. I think it's fair to say people in boxing know about how much of a talent you are, but maybe before this fight and picking up the British title, your profile wasn't the biggest. Do you think, one, obviously winning the British title is going to do a lot for your profile, but two, stopping James and stopping him quicker than Dennis. I think you've made a statement as the who Nathaniel Collins is.
I absolutely I've been saying it for a long time. I'm going to be a brilliant fighter and a special fighter, and I think it's going to take a special fighter to give me a hard night's work. So I'm looking forward towards the top guys in the division, and it's just that it's a shame really because I don't like shouting my mouth, and I don't like trying to be this somebody that I'm not. Like, I'm just nice, hard working. I feel like I'm pretty humble, so it's just a shame that I've not had a chance to get the exposure that I feel like I deserve. And loads of people always say to me, like, you deserve a bit more of a platform and a bit more of something. So I've just stuck my head down, grafted away, and I just hope that this does lead to something. Like there's plenty of big promoters out there. I'd love to sign with somebody. I'd love to sign with a Matchroom or a Boxer or Queensberry, and those are the big three. Those are the big names, and that's always been like a dream of being a wee Scottish guy and working my way through. And you know what I mean? And it's there's people getting that chance now. Like you see Dan Aziz, and he's done it the hard way. Like came through, same as me. I went Celtic, Commonwealth, British. So like that's me earning my stripes now, and I'm only 12 fights in. Who else is doing this in 12 fights? You know what I mean? So hopefully I get my shot.
You touched there on how you've gone the traditional route. Dan Aziz obviously picked up the European title in Paris over the weekends. Got a lot of praise for how he's went that route and sort of not missed out steps and gone for intercontinental titles and stuff like that. What's your thoughts just in general about sort of fighters who are maybe getting more of a promotional push, not name any names, and sort of missing out those traditional fights? You think it's one doing them any good and sort of the sport as a whole, particularly in this country?
Yeah, I mean, like it's a hard one to chat about. Like, I'm not going to sit here and slag anybody off or say anything, because if it was me and like I'd been given the big shot and I'd been given the money and I'd been given international titles and a good stage, like I wouldn't be complaining. I wouldn't be saying, nah, I'm going to go this traditional route or anything. And actually, I've probably said it before in the past. Like, I've never been bothered about the traditional route. It's just happened to be the one that I've been sent on and had to work for, and it just shows like I'm ready to go through these levels, and it shows it. But if I could have been pushed forward to stuff and pushed up rankings with a bit of money and backing, then I wouldn't be complaining, and I wouldn't be like, oh no, hold on a minute, I want to go this hard route first, So
I think that's very honest of you, mate. I think most boxers, maybe if they wouldn't say it, would probably say the same thing. Looking forward, you've now got that lovely Lord Lonsdale belt. I think it's probably one of the nicest looking belts in boxing. One of the most, certainly fighters in this country, sort of prestigious belt. You'll have to defend that 3 times if you want to keep hold of it. Is that something you're looking to do, or are you looking to sort of push on to that European level, potentially beyond that?
Yeah, I'm looking to. Mate, I would go and fight for the European my next fight. Genuinely, I know Kiko vacated it. I seen there was something about 2 Italians meant to be fighting for it, but there's been no date released for that. And one of the guys actually followed me on Instagram, and he's always putting up like the European flag and like a wee clock and stuff. So I don't know if they're trying to hold him up or what the script is, but mate, I'd be happy to step in whenever. I know that it might be about April they're meant to be fighting for it. So if anything goes, wrong with that, I'll be ready. Like I said, I'm back in the gym already, so I'd jump at that opportunity. And if I have to have defences of the British, then that's fine too. Like, I'm not too bothered. I just want to get out there and get my name out there and move to the bigger platform, no matter what it is. And there's loads of domestic featherweight. There's loads of world title fights, but it's all featherweights domestically. Lee Wood, Mick Conlon, Josh Warrington, etc., etc. So if anybody was to drop out in their fights and they needed a step-in opponent as well, I'm there for that as well. I'm ready to step up as well. So
you touched on some of the domestic featherweights there. There's another one whose name's sort of been attached to yours for a while now. It came up again after the win on Friday night. Nick Ball, there was obviously talks for the fight last year. Didn't end up materialising. Remember seeing a couple of interviews at the time. You weren't particularly happy with Nick with Queensberry. Is that a fight you consider revisiting? And more importantly, do you think they would consider revisiting?
Mate, I don't know. It's like me and his names have now been linked together, and it's any time somebody mentions Nick Bull, Nathaniel Collins is mentioned, and anybody mentioning me, Nick Bull's mentioned, and I think that's obviously we had our wee Twitter beef and stuff, but I think that ship's sailed now. He doesn't like me. I don't particularly like him. I don't think we would cross paths unless it was a world title or a world title eliminator, because to me it was disrespectful of him to go, oh, he's missed his shot, I'm better than that, I'm levels above that already. And if that's how he felt, fair enough. But now, like, I'm holding the belts, I'm holding the chips, so that's the way I'm feeling. So that'll be down the line. That'll be a world title eliminator, or it'll be for a world title. But it's like, I'm not throwing you a bone now like you wouldn't throw me a bone, you know. So
No, that's completely fair enough. So just moving forward, I know it's literally been 3 days. In an ideal world, when would you want to get back in action? Obviously, I didn't get to watch the full fight myself. Sounded like a fairly one-sided affair. I know you said you made it a bit more of a war than it needed to be. You look fine to me. When would you ideally like to get back out?
just as soon as possible, mate. There was talk about getting back out May or June. And it was just depending on what happened. I think, like, without like blowing my own trumpet and trying to be above what I am, like, because I don't like to think I'm better than this and I'm better than that, but I think I've outgrown small hall shows, and the Friday night was the pinnacle of a small hall show, you know, like, and I'll never get any bigger than that at the small hall level, you know, and it's just that's how it is. I've outgrown it now, and I need to be in arenas. I need to be, you know, somewhere bigger than that. So it's just, if I could get out, I'd go out. If I could get out in a month, I'd go out in a month. If I could get out in 2 months, as long as the show is big enough, then you know it is what it is.
Just as you were saying that, I could think of potentially a perfect opportunity. Obviously, a countryman of yours, Josh Taylor, looks in line for a huge fight with Teofimo Lopez. There is talk that could land at Hibs's ground in Edinburgh, just outside. Is that a fight in a dream world? Obviously, you know, a Sky show, Josh Taylor versus Teofimo, and imagine to be a pay-per-view fight. You're bound to be sort of looking at that thinking that could be the one.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal. I did see that they were looking at New York or Madison Square Gardens, but also, mate, I would go over to New York or Madison Square Gardens. I think last time I've seen, I was ranked like 16 with the WBC, so um, that's a pretty American-based, American-held title. So, mate, I would go over and fight anybody in the top 15 with the WBC, and you know, get myself up them rankings and try to get into a spot for a shot at that. Figueroa just won the shot at Ray Vargas, and I don't know if Ray Vargas will come back down. So, because he's a big boy, but I'm there. I'm up for it.
No, you've opened the door to some really, really interesting fights. Just lastly from me, you talked on like the sort of the upper echelon of the division. We saw that the fight with Figueroa and Magsayo. You've obviously got Lara looks to be fighting Warrington, potential trilogy fight. As I said, you're 26. You know, like some people are still just getting turned over pro at that stage. You've got the British title. In an ideal world, how long before Nathaniel Collins challenging for world titles?
Less than 12 months, hopefully. Less than 12 months, mate. I think if you ever look back at my interviews, I always said I want to go as quick as Josh did. He was undisputed or won his world title in 15 fights. You know, I'm only 3 fights away from that, so I need to get a move on.
That'd be some goal, mate. You mentioned how you're ready. You've moved past the small hall show scene. You mentioned Sky, Matchroom, all these big promoters. Are there any sort of early indications that talks could be in place for maybe a sort of deal with your likes of your Sky, your Matchrooms?
Um, if there is, I've not heard about it, but you know, it was always just the vision was get the British, win the British, win the British in spectacular fashion, and the rest will do its own talking. You know, like surely these people will see that and think, you know, that's who we want on our platform. I'm nice enough, I'm marketable enough, I'm respectful enough to be out there and doing what I do, and I'm happy. Like, so it doesn't take much to please me. You put me on some few big shows, give me good opponents, and I'll do the rest of the work for you. You know.
If you keep delivering performances and stoppages like that, mate, I'm sure it's not long before the phone will start to ring. Nathaniel, thanks very much for your time, mate. Really appreciate you coming on, and we'll speak to you again soon.
Thank you, mate. Thanks.